Please rise. Let's have a moment of silence in remembrance of all our troops that have passed away. Thank you. Salute to the flag, Dennis.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Here.
Freeholder Barrett Belante.
Here.
Freeholder Kenny.
Here.
Freeholder Polos. Freeholder Tamaro.
Here.
Freeholder Valenti. Freeholder Director Rios.
Here. Consideration of the 2014 budget. We've been notified by the State Division of Local Government Services that it is necessary to amend the 2014 budget as introduced on January 16, 2014. To this end, I'm asking the board to consider adding a resolution which will authorize the required amendments, and the clerk will read the resolution at this time. Resolution number 14395.
Amend 2014 budget, County of Middlesex, New Jersey. Whereas the county budget for the year 2014 was approved on January 16, 2014, and whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held and advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Middlesex that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2014 be made as follows. General revenues. From total section A, local revenues, from $16,980,858 to $16,893,089. Total section C, state assumption of costs of county social and welfare and psychiatric facilities, from $1,305,945 to $1,254,947. Total section D, special items of general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of the Director of Local Government Services, public and private revenues offset with appropriations, from $25,054,352 to $25,160,263. Total section E, special items of general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of the Director of Local Government Services, other special items, from $27,926,903 to $27,969,705. Total miscellaneous revenues from $73,175,000 to $73,184,946. Appropriations, total general revenues, $421,530,000. From two column, $421,523,400. Appropriations. Total public and private programs offset by revenues, from $12,543,260 to $12,536,660. Total appropriations including contingent from $325,916,490 to $325,909,890. Section E, total deferred charges and statutory expenditures county, from $26,045,741 to $26,045,741. Section 9, total general appropriations, from $421,530,000 to $421,523,400. Total operations, from $325,415,921 to $325,409,321. Total operations including contingent, from $325,415,921 to $325,909,890. Total general appropriations from $421,530,000 to $421,523,400. County Open Space Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. Total trust fund revenues from $37,549,623 to $38,158,159,081. Total trust fund appropriations from $37,549,623 to $38,159,081. Be it further resolved that 2 certified copies of this resolution shall be filed forthwith in the office of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services for his certification of the 2014 county budget so amended.
At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Any comments from the public on this resolution only?
I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 14395 only?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Galante,
yes,
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. This time the clerk will read sheets 40 and 41 as amended. Please.
Be it resolved by the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Middlesex that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization in the amount of $421,530,000 for the county to be raised by taxation, and certification to the County Board of Taxation of the following summary of general revenues and appropriations. Summary of revenues. General revenues, surplus anticipated, 0. Miscellaneous revenues anticipated, $73,184,946. Receipts from delinquent taxes, 0. Amount to be raised by taxation for county purposes, $348,338,454. Total general revenues, $421,523,400. Summary of appropriations. General appropriations, operations including contingent, $325,909,890. Capital improvements, $1,250,000. Total debt service, $68,317,769. Deferred charges and statutory expenditures county, $26,045,741. Total general appropriations, $421,523,400. It is hereby certified that the within budget is a true copy of the budget finally adopted by resolutions of the Board of Chosen Freeholders on the 6th day of March 2014. It is further certified that each item of revenue and appropriation is set forth in the same amount and by the same title as appeared in the 2014 approved budget, and all amendments thereto, if any, which have been previously been approved by the Director of Local Government Services.
Is there a motion to adopt the 2014 budget as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call. I'm sorry, prior to that, I would just like to make some comments. Number one, I would like to thank all the employees, all the directors, department heads, the administration, the administrator, our controller, who's worked very hard, working hard together with our new Freeholder Finance Chairman, Charlie Kenny. He did an outstanding job. I know it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I know it was a hard-working budget. And I know we press everyone in county government to make sacrifices so we can continue to operate and provide the services that our residents want and ask for. And again, I thank you for your hard work and dedication. At this time, I'd like to recognize Freeholder Kenny for some comments.
Thank you, Director.
As chairperson of the county's Finance Committee, I am proud to present for adoption the 2014 Middlesex County operating budget. It is a budget that once again contains spending while maintaining the quality services our residents expect and deserve. The Freeholder Board is dedicated to controlling the cost of county government so that our residents get the programs they need at cost they can afford. This budget demonstrates our efforts to do this. The $421.5 million overall gross operating budget reflects just a 0.5% increase over last year's budget. Essentially, we have kept the budget flat. This is consistent with our budgetary accomplishments over the past 6 years, each of which carried, on average, a less than 0.5% increase from year to year. As it relates to our operating expenses, this county government in 2014 has kept the expenses it controls at the same level as last year. We were able to achieve this by saving $800,000 in utility costs with the installation of our solar panel field at our Apple Orchard Lane complex. We also continued our efforts in streamlining procedures and processes countywide, including consolidating our rental properties, which we will potentially save the taxpayers $500,000. We also have continued to harness new technology to replace our labor-intensive and manual processes, which will enable our residents to access services more quickly and efficiently. We have seen a 5.3% increase in our recurring revenue over the last year, primarily due to the county clerk's office, which recorded an increase of $1 million over 2013. This signals a stabilization in the local economy, especially in the housing market. The 2014 budget, like those of 2012 and 2013, does not rely on any one-time revenue sources or surpluses to balance the budget. This is in keeping with our overall budgeting strategy of living within our means. The strengthening of our local economy and our resolve to keep our expenses in check spells good things for the taxpayers of Middlesex County. The 2014 budget carries a decrease in debt of $74 million, or 10.5% from last year. This is consistent with our objectives to ensure our strong debt management policy. As a result of our financial acumen, Standards & Poor's once again awarded us a AAA bond rating, the highest rating obtainable. In its summary of findings, Standards & Poor's stated, Middlesex County's management is strong, in our view, supported by good financial management policies and practices. The county has adequate budgetary flexibility with projections of improvement to levels we consider strong within the next 2 to 4 years. They also said the stable outlook reflects our view that Middlesex County is on a positive fiscal trajectory in a strong position to build on reserves through positive operations, the opinion read. A AAA rating means that we can invest in our roads, buildings, and bridges to ensure a strong, safe infrastructure, and that we can build and maintain state-of-the-art educational facilities and communication networks at lower cost to our taxpayers. The 2014 capital budget, which funds these improvements, $27 million for infrastructure improvements, including our roads and bridges, $9 million in capital funds has been allocated for enhancements to our emergency response capabilities, including emergency notification via our state-of-the-art 800 megahertz radio system, which allows emergency responders across all disciplines to communicate effectively. $8.4 million for improvements to the infrastructure and educational facilities at our county college and vocational schools. $4.8 million has been allocated for community services program, which includes our efforts to end homelessness. In addition to our sound budgeting procedures, we continue to work to increase our surplus is essential to maintaining the AAA rating. We have increased our surplus by $6.5 million, or 31% since 2013, to ensure that we have the proper reserves to absorb any emergent situation, such as Superstorm Sandy in 2012. Our continued focus in 2014 and beyond will be to provide quality services at cost our residents can afford. This Board of Chosen Freeholders and our county staff, especially the Finance Department headed by Joe Pruitti, should be commended for their hard work and dedication to the people of Middlesex County, as we have said here on numerous occasions. Also, as I said earlier on, Deputy Director Carol Barrett Belante was the person in charge last year up until the end of the year, so a lot of this work is through her effort, so I'd like to acknowledge that. We have worked together to produce a budget that puts our residents and taxpayers first. And that's all I have, Director.
Thank you. This time, can we take a roll call?
Freeholder Armwood?
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Belante?
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios?
Yes. This time, we have some recognitions.
Yeah, we have several this evening. The first is recognizing March 2014 as Red Cross Month in Middlesex County. Next is recognizing John Jack Doyle of the City of New Brunswick, as he is named Irishman of the Year by the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick. Next is recognizing the honorees of the Woodbridge St. Patrick's Day Parade, followed by the honorees of the South Amboy St. Patrick's Day Parade. Recognizing Carl Towns Jr., who is the 2014 McDonald's All-American Games finalist. Next is recognizing Metuchen Councilman James Wallace for his continued service to the Metuchen Fire Department. And last is recognizing Rich McCutcheon as Irish Person of the Year.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call?
Freeholder Armwood?
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Belante?
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios?
Yes.
If I could ask Andrea Orb Martinez from the American Red Cross to come forward, please.
I just want to recognize, I'm not going to read all the whereas and therefores, but I just want to let everyone know that we wanted to bring the Red Cross here and let them know that we recognize Red Cross Month in Middlesex County because it's so important for people to know what they actually do. And there's so many, probably millions across the country, that are volunteers that do so many good things. I remember traveling, doing union business, and there was a natural disaster, and I was at the airport out of state, and I seen all these volunteers, and they were people from all over the country, all ages, and it's just a whole complex thing to face when people go into these natural disasters. And obviously, us in New Jersey can appreciate it a little more because we experienced Hurricane or Superstorm Sandy 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it is, and we were able to relate to it a little better. But what these volunteers do, how they sacrifice their lives and dedicate their time, it's commendable. So I want to just say, on behalf of Middlesex County, thank you for all your hard work and dedication.
Well, on behalf of the Red Cross, we want to thank you for recognizing Red Cross Month in Middlesex County. As Director Freeholder Rios mentioned, we can appreciate a little more what the work of the Red Cross has been, especially with Superstorm Sandy. And you here in Middlesex County, we've been working with a lot of communities that have been affected throughout the county. So we appreciate, thank you for recognizing our volunteers, and we have a lot of hours of that have been put into making sure that New Jersey communities that have been affected by Sandy and other disaster are bring back to whole, or at least the new normal, as we call it. So thank you so much, and we hope that you continue to support the efforts of the American Red Cross.
Thank you. You have to bear with me. My landing gear was replaced, so I have to walk a little slower. Okay. At this time, correspondence.
Each freeholder has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This This correspondence will be kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes for approval. Is there a motion to approve the previous track minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Belante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny, Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Ordinances. Introduction, first reading.
Ordinance number 14-001. County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, an ordinance authorizing the guarantee by the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, of the payment of principal of and interest on the county-guaranteed lease revenue refunding bonds, Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission projects, issued by the Middlesex County Improvement Authority in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $12,500,000 in bonds issued for the purpose of refunding the outstanding and callable county-guaranteed lease revenue refunding bonds, Middlesex County Educational Services Commission projects, Series 2004, and authorizing a public hearing thereon to be held Thursday, March 20th, 2014, at 7 p.m., authorizing publication thereof, consenting to such financing, and determining certain other matters in connection therewith.
Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 14-1 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood,
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Belante,
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny,
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Reports of freeholders. Freeholder Ken Armwood.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. And good evening, everyone. Piscataway Votech students in the auto collision classes met with Ronald Brenner, an Ohio Technical College admissions representative, who briefed students about offerings and admission requirements for Ohio Technical College. MCVTS has an articulation agreement allowing students who successfully complete the auto collision program to earn up to 12 credits at Ohio Technical College. Students were able to try their hand at airbrushing, a skill that might be added to the curriculum down the road. From the Cultural and Heritage Commission, Cornelius Lowe House Middlesex County Museum presents Jersey Homesteads, part of the WPA exhibit lecture series on Sunday, March 23, 2014 at 2 p.m. at East Jersey, Old Town Village, 1050 River Road, Piscataway. Got Work, New Deal, MPA in New Jersey exhibit is available through June 30th at the County Museum. Free presentation by Michael Tickton, historian and vice president of the National New Deal Preservation Association. Registration is required. Call 732-745-3030. And from Middlesex County College, the annual Give Kids a Smile Day provided dental work for youngsters who do not have access to dentists. The dental hygiene department did an outstanding job organizing the day. 51 volunteers, hygienists, dentists, and assistants provided dental work to 57 children, an increase over the 46 children from last year. The treatments including C-rays, cleaning, fillings, sealants, and extractions valued at $43,000. And lastly, I'd like to say happy anniversary to our Freeholder Director for his 42nd anniversary with his wife, Mickey. Congratulations. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Freeholder Deputy Director Carol Barrett Belante.
Thank you so much, Director, and it's good to see you without your cane.
That's good.
Good evening, everyone. Resolution number 14361 on tonight's agenda would approve the purchase of 5.9 acres in the city of Perth Amboy, directly across the street from the Perth Amboy campus of the Middlesex County Vocational Technical School System. This would represent the first ever, and let me repeat that, the first ever purchase of open space within the city of Perth Amboy. It also will enable the county to build state-of-the-art active recreational facilities, including a multi-purpose athletic field to be used not only by the students of the Perth Amboy campus, but the public at large. This purchase is consistent with our efforts to provide the best recreational facilities to our residents. It will raise the quality of education at the Perth Amboy campus and the quality of life for all of the Middlesex County residents who will enjoy these facilities. The purchase also will improve the waterfront access to the Arthur Kill. The land is consistent with other properties included in the city's redevelopment plans to restore the waterfront and create public access to the marina and recreational facilities to the Arthur Kill and the Raritan Bay. Mayor Diaz and Perth Amboy Council strongly support this purchase. In fact, the mayor is with us this evening to show her support. I encourage my fellow freeholders to pass this resolution so that we may work with our partners in Perth Amboy to provide new, exciting recreational opportunities for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Deputy Director Malante. Freeholder Charles Kenny.
I had mine earlier, thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Charlie Tamaro.
Thank you, Director. Last Sunday at 11 o'clock, the Roosevelt Park Family Ice Skating Rink had an ice show featuring our youngsters from all over the county who took lessons at the rink and did the show this year. The young people and the recreation took it to a new level. The rink staff and teachers who choreographed the show could not stop smiling at the new county talent. The show has become a yearly event, and judging from the attendance, it will continue. Now that the snow appears to be quitting, I don't know if I should say that. Our road department is ascending and prioritizing road repairs. Of course, trying to fill all those wonderful potholes. So they're out there every day getting the potholes filled, and hopefully we'll get it done before the next snow. So I just want to congratulate them and for doing a great job and working hard to fix up our roads. And it's just not our roads; it's every road. I'm sure you can ask the mayor from Perth Amboy, and she's having as much problem as everybody is around here. I just want to comment on a resolution we have on for this evening. It's 14-358. It's another open space resolution, and it's going to give grant money to Edison Township to fix up its skate park. 10 years ago, Edison built a skate park, which I was involved in. The young skaters decided one time to build their own skate park in one of our parks, and they built some really huge ramps. And of course, by not the township building it, it wasn't sanctioned, so it had to be taken down. So I went with the skaters and told them to put a petition together. In just a few days, they put together over 1,000 signatures. We sat down with the mayor at that time. It was George Spadoro, and we convinced him and convinced the council to build a skate park. Since then, since 10 years ago, that skate park has been the most used park in Edison Township. If you put lights on at these kids and left the lights on all night, they'd be there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, as long as the weather permitted it. So I want to thank the county, our administration, our county open space for moving this forward. Can't wait for the day when we cut the ribbon for this new skate park, because as I said, it's one of the most used parks in Edison Township. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Freeholder Tamaro. Okay, Mr. Kelso, any resolutions to be added?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Excuse me. Resolutions to be held?
There are none.
Resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
At this time, I would like to open the meeting to the public. Anyone that would like to speak on any resolutions that are listed only. Please state your name for the record, please.
Yes, Dan Sirikowski, Charles Street, Perth Amboy. I was here in November 21st when there was a resolution authorizing the Middlesex County Improvement Authority to conduct due diligence on its properties that identifies on a tax map per city, Perth Amboy, essentially the Rosengarten property, known as the General Cable property. I was able to obtain a copy of your engineer's report and copy of the appraisal. Mr. Rosengarten already had initiated this in 2010 about the county purchasing the property. He approached Mr. Kelso, Mr. Polomina. They rightfully turned him down because the county wasn't in the business, according to Mr. Rosengarten's letter, of buying brownfields. They would buy properties that were remediated. In any event, the resolution is dated November 21st, 2013, but an appraisal was made already a year and a half prior to that. It was made by a local person from Woodbridge, and that person trying to cover themselves by stating this: your attention is directed to the limiting conditions and assumptions sections of this report, page 9. The subject properties of known contaminated site at the client's request. That's the county, which was requested by Mr. Rosengarten. You're going to evaluate this property as if it's clean, not what kind of contamination is there, or what cost the remedial work. How much it cost? 1 million, 10 million, or it can't be, because there's a plume coming from the former, I think the former DuPont property. Based on the appraisal described in the company report, subject to the limiting conditions and assumptions, extraordinary assumption and hypothetical conditions, we have made following value conditions. The appraiser is covering his rear end, just in case there's a lawsuit, something happens in the future. This was I was asked to do, not to investigate contamination, how much it cost. And what he did, he based his appraisals, this was done in July of 2012. The appraisals were based on properties in Eatontown, fully approved properties, and Marlborough. You know, Marlborough, as you know, the McMansions, $500,000 to $1 million. You know, you could make a mistake, you could confuse it if you're an appraiser with Perth Amboy. He also accused the appraisals are over information. 7 years old right now, 7 years old. At the top of the real estate market at 2007, it collapsed at 2008, but the appraisal, for some reason, didn't use land, Carteret, Perth Amboy, Woodbridge, or whatever in his appraisal. Use Marlborough. You think about that. Okay, so he's covering himself. You know, I was asked to do this, I'm doing it at the request of the Improvement Authority through Mr. Rosengarten. Then you hired an engineer. The engineer's name was Hatch Mott McDonald. They state in here that essentially it's a report, so I'm going to read just a synopsis. This is a scam, this is a fraud, this is a lot of different things. This is going to the Star Ledger. However, no final remedial action has to be determined or implemented. HMH, that's your environmental guy, engineer, is unable to accurately determine the estimated cost to remediate the site, and therefore has not included a full evaluation of environmental constraints within the yield analysis. Environmental information deemed readily available, blah, 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 and it's, etc. If you read his report, again, it's pages long, so I can all give you snippets of it. He says, you don't buy property that needs remediation if you don't know what the contamination is, where it's coming from, besides on site. The next door neighbor is super contaminated. Kushner walked away from these 19 acres. He was supposed to develop it. I think he realized, hey, this is going to cost me tens of millions of dollars to do this. It's 19 acres. Another speculator has property to the north of this. The other property owner that goes to the waterfront. This is not waterfront property.
Time.
May I continue? May I have extra time?
No, you know why, Stan?
Why?
Your time is up, and everything that you have
No, I'm only requesting for time. You can vote on it.
Excuse me.
No, you can't, what you're doing, you can't do. I'm asking for extra time. You can vote on it.
Your time is up, sir. Thank you for your comments.
A person can't request for extra time?
Your time is up.
This is a
Thank
fraud.
you. No.
But everything
Thank
you're
you for
saying
your
is a lie.
comments.
Barry is in a hole for $800,000. You're
Thank
bailing
you.
him out. $800,000. Just so you know.
Mr. Albanier, just for a few comments, if you could just elaborate, before we ask anyone else from the public to comment on this, if you could just elaborate a little bit about the due diligence that we did on this property from where we were to where we are today, briefly.
When we first looked at the property, well over a year.
Why don't you go to the microphone?
When we first looked at the property several years ago, we did not have the studies that we needed to determine what the level of contamination was. We have had a number of studies done since then, and what we found is that the contamination is not as serious as we thought it was on the Rose Garden tract, and that we have opportunities there on the waterfront to be able to build substantial recreational facilities to serve both the VOTEC and the citizens of Perth Amboy.
Thank you.
But we are comfortable with what we found so far.
Okay.
Who's, yeah. Ralph, could you explain to the public who is paying for the, clearing the facility?
Well, the county will purchase the property fully certified by DEP as being clean and accessible by the public.
And who's responsible for that?
That will be the owner.
The owner,
Yes.
Thank you.
not the county.
No, not at all.
Thank you. Do you want to say something?
I was gonna comment the same thing.
Anyone else from the public that would like to comment on any resolutions listed? Yes, sir. State your name, please.
Kenneth Ortiz, I'm the Director of Human Services for the City of Perth Amboy, and I also serve as the Superintendent of Recreation. I'm here to speak about Resolution 14-361, and just to speak a little bit about the city's need in regards to open space and recreational facilities. In 2012, we entered into an agreement with the Department of Community Affairs Local Planning Services to help the city work on a comprehensive recreation plan and a plan that would be implemented into the city's master plan. And the data that we were able to really study and look at really describes the need for recreation and open space facilities for the city. Some very glaring statistics were that the city had a deficit of over 30 playgrounds, a deficit of 17 tennis courts, a deficit of 12 softball and baseball fields, a deficit of 2 full soccer fields and 2 football fields. Perth Amboy is a city of 4 square miles, 50,000 people, over 50,000 people. We only have 110 acres of open space. As per the National Parks and Recreation Association, it should be almost double that amount. And looking at specifically this area of the city, in the census tract which this property is located in, there's approximately 7,000 residents. They're the average age of 30 years old, and they're very active. But there's only 3/4 of an acre in that area for recreational opportunities for 7,000 residents. And also, the plan also identified that most of our recreational facilities were to the north of the city, where the average age was a lot higher and the population was a lot lower. And when you look at the center of the city and further south, the population was a lot greater, but the average age was a lot lower, telling us that we have a very young city. We have 40% of our population is under the age of 24. They're looking for areas to be active, to run, to play basketball, for soccer, just looking for opportunities. The city owns 1 synthetic turf field, which is the Albert G. Water Stadium, and I can tell you from the month of March and April until the end of November, there are thousands of residents that visit that one facility. And I'm here to tell you that the city is in support of the acquisition of this property and having baseball fields and soccer fields and other amenities, and that it would not cure all the ills of our recreational needs, but it's a big start. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? Yes.
Good evening, Freeholder Director, Freeholders. I am Wilda Diaz, and I am the mayor of the city of Perth Amboy. And I am here in support of Resolution 14361R, the Rosen Garden Track. You heard our director describe to you the need for recreational areas for our city. We have over 50,000 residents in the city of Perth Amboy. 78% are Latinos. And here, that's one of the fastest we have one of the fastest growing sports is soccer, but yet we're not meeting the needs of our community. Time and time again, you hear many of our residents, especially we have a lot of young families that would love to have an opportunity to take their children to a close park. Well, we can't provide that. They have to either get into a car or walk a really long distance, especially when you have children. You know, we see in our city that there is such a dire need, and that area, when you drive down the area, is just such an eyesore. And then you have a school right across the street that really could take advantage of having a park to not only for their student body, but it actually would even help, I believe, the school at one point for to attract a student body that would have an opportunity to go to a really nice park. It's right next to the waterfront. It's right near the waterfront, and I could only see this type of park overlooking the bay. I mean, I believe that Perth Amboy really deserves to have an opportunity to have a state-of-the-art park, because our residents really, truly deserve it. You know, these are hardworking families that don't have an opportunity sometimes to travel out of town and have an opportunity to visit other parks. And here we are in an urban city that it's in dire need of help. So I look forward to this partnership. I thank the Freeholders for even considering the city of Perth Amboy. Perth Amboy really needs this type of assistance. And you heard our director, there is a need. And again, I am hoping that tonight you make this decision to approve this opportunity for the city of Perth Amboy, because it really is a great opportunity. It's not only for the residents of Perth Amboy, it's also about the student body right across the street from this potential park, but also residents that will come and visit the city of Perth Amboy. So I want to just thank you, and please, Perth Amboy really does need this type of park. The residents of Perth Amboy really would appreciate having a chance to take their children to a nice facility. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public that would like to speak on any resolutions?
A motion to close the public portion?
Second. Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda and voted on separately? No one? Mr. Kelso.
Yes, Freeholder Director, a motion would then be in order to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 14-335 through 14-394, including resolutions 14-111 through 14-126, which were previously held.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
Second. Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood?
Yes.
Freeholder Barrett Belante?
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios?
Yes. At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public on any discussion. Anyone from the public?
Yes, Stan Sirikowski, Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Mr. Rosengarten is probably the biggest contributor in Mayor Diaz's political campaign. He bought the property over 20 years ago for $360,000. He's put in another taxes, there's another 500,000. Kushner was supposed to buy the property, but Kushner bailed out for Mr. Rosengarten's 6 acres, the other speculator north of Mr. Rosengarten, and the other person who owes the city $2.4 million in back taxes, which nobody knew about because the mayor didn't even tell the city council. So the appraiser, Mr. Rosengarten, approached the county, beginning as late 2010, but in 2012, he started discussions with the attorney and the business administrator. He was rebuffed. He says, we don't buy brownfields, contaminated property. Here's the first question. How much is the remediation going to cost? 1 million? 10 million? The property, you have to consider the property north of it, east of it, and north of it are also contaminated. The property north of it, which is waterfront, this is not waterfront, owes us 2.4 million, but that's super contaminated. It's in all the reports, and you read the engineering study. He says, hey, you don't buy land this way. Find out what the cost is. Mr. Rosengarten probably is not in a position. I think somebody said money's going to be held in escrow. No, the county's going to buy it, and it's not going to be remediated. Or it's going to be remediated first, and then the county's going to buy it. Which is it? It's what the freeholder said over there is very vague. Your engineer says, don't do it this way. Find out what the contamination is on site, east of it, and north of it. It's all 19 acres that the billionaire Kushner was smart enough to walk away from because it's too expensive to remediate. Okay? Mr. Rosengarten threatened to say, hey, if you don't use this as a park, I'm going to sell this to another developer. It's in the documentation. I said, go ahead. Approach Havnavian, Kaplan, Halper, see if they wanted your contaminated property, and see, and again, the super contaminated right next door, and the other speculator who owns property to the north of him. All that has to be like a mosaic, as a picture, what this land is. That he bought on speculation over 20 years ago, knowing what was coming down from Kushner. Kushner stopped at his property. His property's on Washington High. On the north side, Kushner stopped on the south side. Said, I'm not doing it. I waive all my rights to develop this land. Read the articles in the Star Ledger. Google it. Kushner, fraud, everything else, whatever you want to call it, because there's a lawsuit in the process about the current residents of the portions that he did build, etc. You should table this because and look at the appraisal. What the appraisal did, 2007, in Monmouth County, Eatontown, and the other. Very expensive community. He used comparables from those areas. He used a comparable from Rutgers University on a piece of property that's 125 by 175, and he used that as a comparable because that's sold for $1 million because it's Rutgers. Think about it. This ain't Rutgers. This is a highly contaminated area that no school is going to be built on, no senior city, because they would require the contamination to be removed. Also, DuPont years ago, over 100 years ago, when they used to manufacture formaldehyde, when they dumped everything into the soil, there's a slope. It's like the fingers, the palm and the fingers. See if that's contaminated from that plume of contamination, and if in fact it can be corrected, and what the costs are. It's your due diligence, your whatever responsibility to the taxpayers to find out what's the remediation cost of this property before you spend $1 of the taxpayer. I'm not against parks. Matter of fact, this is good. Let them donate the property and see what we do with it. The other property that's really at the waterfront, the guy who owes us $2.4 million in back taxes, that should be made a park if we could remediate that. But not this. He put in over $800,000 at least, maybe $1 million, and Kushner pulled the rug out from under him, the other speculator, and the other guy who stopped paying taxes 5 years ago. I get documentation there from your engineer. At least listen to your engineer.
Time.
That's the least you can do.
Thank you.
Not me.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public?
I'll move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Armwood. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned.